Okay, so let's start with that day 3 workshop. It's a 4 days workshop, and we are in the third day. We have already finished up that first 2 days. This workshop was a little bit, we started with the landscape, and that landscape was a little bit how this analytical landscape was different from other fields. So this, we are starting with that how we can reach there, what is the difference here, even the background that we have. Sometimes we have the hard background of mathematics we know well, and sometimes we don't know the mathematics or statistics, or we forgot it for a long day without using it. Or maybe we know someone, maybe we know that coding is good for us, and someone we are not even know what to code. So all different parameters are there. So we started with how we can go ahead. If you have missed this discussion, then we have the recording we will share with you, and the next workshop we will be doing again, or something in different way we will be doing. So if you have missed it, you did not miss at all. So we have the scope to learn again. Now we started with, so our approach was like for coding, we did with Python and R. Both the tools are there, Python and R. Today we'll be looking into the Python part, how the Python is helpful. If we don't know Python, Isbinder is there. He would be walking through very slowly and very delicately how we can use this in our case. So we basically discussed different cases. So it's not like how the theoretical way we did it. We did a little bit without knowing much, but into the cases, how we can use this. Now, the case one, we have gone through a little bit how the optimization can be found, how we can get the statistics and mathematics into our cases or into our problem set, how to use that one. Today, we would be using a different case, very interesting case, that is how we can use it into the how we can use it into the case. Okay, so by this, we can proceed. Okay, so let's over to you, Isbinder. Isbinder, can you unmute it? I am muted.
Yes, please give me the sharing rights.
Sorry?
Can you see my screen? Great.
I can see it.
Great. So hi, very, very warm welcome, right? Now, today we'll be discussing very practical case study, that is Amazon Find Food Reviews. Now, first of all, let me tell you about the data set. Let me give me a moment. Let me open the tab. Now, you know what, you guys have to be very smart. Whatever the practical things you want to do, or whatever the data set you are searching, don't search over here and there, right? All the data set which are real life scenario data set that are freely available on Kaggle. Like say, if I want to get the Amazon Find Food Reviews, right, data set, it's freely available on Kaggle. And this data set has been published by the Stanford University for a research purposes, right? So please use these things, whichever your domain is, either it's fintech or either it's a like recommendation system you want to build, because if you want to build a recommender system, this data set is going to be really helpful, right? So you know what, you guys can use this Kaggle extensively, right? Now, before starting this case study, I have got a lot of inquiries, like whether we should use Google Colab. This is how the Google Colab looks like. Just give me a moment. Okay. Now this is Google. If you guys are not aware of it, like this is a Google Colab. It's again freely online web-based Jupyter notebook available. It's awesome. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Now there are pros and cons of both Kaggle and Google Colab. Now you have to be very smart. Don't waste your money on buying these products at your level, because you really don't need these products, right? Now, there is a paid version of Google Colab also, where you can have unlimited runtime environment available, and you know what, you guys can use GPUs like that higher level, but you don't need these things at these levels, right? Trust me. For that, a better option, that is Amazon Web Services, is the best option for running a machine learning deployment system. Anyhow, uh, the only problem, Google Colab is wonderful, far better than Kaggle. The only problem with Google Colab is, I'll tell you, before I start with the case study. Now, let's suppose if I want to run this Amazon Find Food, you know what, case study. Now, what I have to do is what? I have to either upload my, you know what, data set in the CSV format, or I have to upload a database in the SQLite format. Now, in Kaggle, it is directly available over here. Now, what I can do is what? Let's suppose if I want to, you know what, run this data set, I have to upload this data set in my Jupyter notebook. Now, I can do one thing. I can add the data set directly over here by searching. I don't have to do anything. I hope you guys are getting my point. Now, only problem with, you know what, Google Colab is what? Let's suppose if I want to run this notebook. Now, what I need is, I need either a database in a SQLite format, or I need a CSV format. Now, what I need to do is what? I need to go over here. You know what? First of all, it will take some time to connect. Let's suppose if it is connected, then I have to upload it. I hope you can understand. You know what? And trust me, this Amazon Find Food Reviews file is very big. It will take around 20 to 25 minutes. If your internet connection is really good, it will take around 20 to 25 minutes to upload the data set. I hope you guys are getting my point. Then after, once you have run this notebook, what will happen? Let's suppose you have left this notebook for another half an hour. It will, you know what, it will throw your whatever the CSV or database file you have uploaded in Google Colab into garbage. I hope you can understand that pain. You know what, you will understand later when you start practicing these case studies, or you start deploying or you start testing your models. That is really a pain, right? So better is, whenever you are testing your model, or whenever you're, you know what, you are uploading your data sets or something you are doing in your data set. Let's suppose you are doing a pre-processing of a data set. Better to use is Kaggle, because most of the data set you might be trying to do something that will be available on Kaggle, right? Then after, trust me, let's suppose if you want to run a lot of TensorFlow, you know what, you guys, I'm just saying, let's suppose you want to run something on a TensorFlow framework. For that, Google Colab is the best. So this is the way you have to be smart. Let's suppose you can use GPUs, freely available GPUs over here. If you guys can see, you know what, these resources and GPUs are freely available on Google. You can use these. So you have to switch in between. I hope you guys are getting my point, what I'm trying to say. So you have to.
So Ismail, let me jump into this point. So it is a nice point you raised. So that case study would be starting the next part. So before that, what my friend is telling at this moment, that a data set is most important. Probably, Ismail, you were trying to say that one. Yeah. And that data set, probably that is the most valuable thing to start with. So any case, that would be the second or the another side of the coin. But the first side, we need to find out whether the data is there or how to start with. Probably the first point would be the data. And then my friend was telling about that how that data can be collected. Now, again, that is the two problems already he has discussed. Now, first one is that if the data size is quite big, then how to handle it? Probably he is telling about that how Kaggle could be a good point to start with. Yes, is it like that, isn't it?
Yes, because try to understand, even if you are using Google Colab, we have to upload it. It will take another 25 minutes, right? Because nothing is available on Google App. Now, let's suppose you are trying to use your own machine. Then you need a powerful machine. Trust me, you cannot run most of the models, machine learning models, on your 4 GB RAM machine. Trust me, it won't work. Either it's going to be hanged or something going to happen to the machine. So you have to be very smart. You know, don't waste your money. You have to be very tight on your resources. Don't jump in. You have to be very wise. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Perfectly. So this is probably we have two tools. Probably you have discussed the Kaggle and another one Colab. So both the things are good, but what is the positive and negative? Probably you have discussed that one. Nice. Please go ahead.
Great. Now let's come to the case study now. Now I would like to ask you a couple of questions. Let's suppose you have a data set. We have the data set. Everything is uploaded in the Kaggle. Now, what would be your next step? Because this is the key point. I have seen a lot of people are working on NLP, or like lot of techniques they are working, KNN, advanced KNN, lot of methods are available in KNN. But you know what, trust me, 30 to 40% of your time must be invested on data pre-processing. That is really very important, because I'll discuss this today why it is really important. So I would like to ask you one question, like what is your first point? Like how would you approach when you have a case, when you have a problem set? Now you have a data set. What is your first step? Anyone? You guys can type in the message or something. No problems. Anyone? Yes, please.
So actually, this is the part of the sir Python. So
Yeah.
these are the backspace which we are placed here. Sir, there is a confusion between them, the dire name and the comma that slash. Sir, what are the difference between them?
I'm
How
not able
can
to follow.
sir? What
Can you speak louder?
sir? Actually, my sound is being vibrated from somewhere. I'm in the
That's
bracket.
okay. So can you repeat it once again?
Sir, I'm repeating that, sir, there is the letter that is written in the bracket here, Kaggle slash Kaggle that slash input. So what we
Oh,
are, yes, sir,
okay. Now you don't need to worry. These are the paths.
yes,
These
sir.
are the paths. You know what? I'll explain you. You don't need to worry. These are for this part. You don't have to worry. Whenever you open a new Kaggle notebook, right? Let me
Yes,
open a new Kaggle. Let's suppose if I open a new Kaggle, it will automatically comes in. And this is a defined path that will be defined automatically by the Kaggle. Can you see? Can you see?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. So because they are trying to, you know, make it compatible with your operating system, something they are doing it the back. You don't need to.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, no problems. Now, but the main point, what we are discussing it today over here is what is the first step when you have a data? Because this is really important. Anyone? Now, the first, you know what? Okay, let's discuss it. The first, you know what? The main point is whenever you have a data set, try to understand the data set. Do not try to jump onto it. Try to do something. Try to run the pandas or something. No, try to understand what the data set is trying to say. That is really very important. At least, you know what, try to understand what the columns are trying to say. Now, you know what, just ignore this because these are the inline functions we are using. Now, this is the day, everything I have written about the, you know what, Amazon Fine Food Reviews. Can you see? Now, this data set has been taken from the Kaggle. Amazon Fine Food Reviews, if you see, you know what, consists of reviews of the fine food from Amazon. Now, you must have a complete clarity of what the data set is. Now, these are the attributes, means what, these are the columns, these are the properties. We have an ID, we have a product ID that should be unique. We have a user ID, we have a profile name, we have helpfulness numerator, number of users who find the review helpful. Now, these are really very important. I'll discuss it how. Helpful and denominator, number of users who indicated whether they found the review helpful or not. Score, rating, 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be integer. That's okay. Time, you know what, time stamp for the review, that is really again very important. Summary brief of the review. Now, these are the attributes, means what, that these are the properties of this data set. First of all, you need to understand. That is a first problem you have to understand, right? Then the next come is what, then you know what, then comes your problem. What is a problem? Like you have a data set, what exactly you want to do with the data set? Now, let's suppose if I do have a data set, right? I do have another purpose for this data set. I want to get something out of the data set. Maybe I want all the products. Now over here, what we are discussing, we want, you know what, how to determine if the review is positive or negative. My main part for this data set, my main objective for this pre-processing of the data set is, I want to get, let's suppose if someone writes a review from this data set, I want to train my model and then I want to test my model. Then I want to predict whosoever is writing the review, is it going to be positive or negative? That is my purpose. So I need to move according to my purpose. So this means what, if my purpose is whether review is positive or negative, this means what, this rating, the number 7, it becomes really important for me. This becomes important for me. This becomes important for me. This becomes important for me. Product ID, user ID, profile name. You know what, text is also important because I'm going to train everything on a text. Time is also very important. I'll discuss with you like how time is going to be very important. Now, summary might not that be important. ID, yes, I can say, not that much, but yes, I can say, right? Now, then you know what, we have loading the data set. Now the data set, trust me, whenever you guys will be getting a data set, I don't know if you guys know it, either you guys are going to get a data set in CSV format or JSON file. I don't know if you guys know what is a JSON file. It's a JavaScript object file. If you guys are using a NoSQL database, JSON file will be shared with you. Now, if you guys are using a SQL based data set, like say MySQL or something, then you know what, SQLite, you know what, this file will be, extension file will be shared. Now, in order to load the data, we have to, now let's suppose if the data file is given in SQLite file, we have to use SQLite function in Python. We have to connect the function. We have to make a connection. Now you see, you know what, that what I'm trying to discuss is according to your problem, you need to pre-process the data. Then according to your data, in whichever the format is available, you need to make a connection. You need to move step by step. That is our first plan, right? Now, what we are going to do over is we are only want the global sentiment recognition of the recommendation, whether it is going to be positive or negative. That is our objective, right? Now, we will purposely ignore all the scores equal to 3. We'll discuss it why. Now, if the score ID is above 3, the recommendation is going to be positive. Let's say 3.54, it is going to be positive. Otherwise, it will be set to negative. That is our purpose, to make things easier, right? To make things easier, right? Now, these are some of the files you need to upload. We can say libraries. Now, you know what, for Python, I can say one thing. The more you, I can say, browse about the Python libraries, the more you will learn about the Python. That's the beauty of Python. You know what, whatever the models you can think of machine learning, even if it's like the toughest to toughest model, that can be done in 7 to 10 lines. Coding is not a problem in machine learning. Coding is not a problem in data analysis. If you are working on Python, the only problem is you need to understand the math behind it. You need to understand the statistics behind it. Just like say the Banu asked me right now, sir, what is this Kaggle input file format? You don't need to worry about this. You need to worry about how I'm going to handle my data. Trust me, lot of libraries are available. You don't need to remember all the libraries, but yes, you need to have the understanding of the main libraries, right? Again, I'm telling you, you should have an idea. I'm not saying that you should cram each and every library what the function is going to do. No. You should have an idea. Okay, for data upload, I need to use pandas. I need to have the main, you know what, use case of the functionalities of the pandas. That's it. Rest, trust me, you know what, all the documentation is available online. You guys can search the documentation. No, and you know what, if you guys are going to work for a good company, they will never ask you such a stupid question. Okay, tell me in pandas, you know what, this function, in this function, what are the different cases for? No. They also understand documentation is available. You guys can read the documentation. You guys can write the code. That is not a problem, right? They are going to test you on these qualities, like how you're going to handle the data. Now, what is the purpose? How you going to define the problem state? What is a case scenario? So these are the problems. These are the things they are going to test you upon. Now, we are going to import a library, SQLite, to make a connection with SQL database. Pandas, I hope you guys know what is Pandas. It's a very famous library for database. NumPy, very fast library, very use case, I can say, very very highly used in statistics and machine learning. Machine learning, I can't say. NLTK, it's a NLP toolkit library. String, Matplotlib, it's a very for showing the plots and everything. Seaborn, again, it's a plotting library. Scikit-learn, and this is a main library for your, you can say, machine learning. Each and every model is available over here. You don't need to worry about it. Now, then we have this one. Now, this is also important. That is, I don't know if how many of you guys are from computer science background. That is a regular expression. We'll discuss it further. What are regular expressions, right? So this is again very important library. Now, from this library to this library, these are all the libraries for, you know what, NLP, word to vector, you know what, very famous model, how we can convert the vector to whatever the statement, the language words are given to a vector, right? You guys will learn in NLP. You don't need to worry. Now, this is nothing. I'll tell you the use case of this library. That is just like saying, you will be displaying the status bar in Python, like how much the processing has been done. Now import OS. If you guys want to change the path or something, you want to define different path, then you have to use an import OS library. Now, let me run these. Okay. It will take some time done. Now, first of all, what we are going to do is what we are going to make a connection with SQLite. We have done make the connection. And now over here, we need to provide the complete path of our SQLite. You know what? Whatever the path is. Now, how you guys can get the path? Just come over here. This is the thing. Just copy it. Just copied it. Right? I'll come to the basic one and just paste it. Can you see? You guys will automatically get the same path. You don't need to worry. Am I clear? You guys don't need to worry. Let me just work. You guys don't have to worry about it. Now you have to provide now what is the path where I'm going to connect my SQLite database. Okay. Then we'll be getting a filter data. Now filter data is what? You need to run your SQL queries over here. Select start from reviews where score is not equals to 3. We discussed at the very beginning, we are going to just ignore whenever the score ID is 3, we are just going to ignore it. So you know what, we want all the data when the score ID is not equals to 3. Now we are going to define a function over here. That function will take an input. If my score is less than 3, that is going to be negative. It will return negative. Now, if my score is else, it is going to be positive. Now, what we are trying to do over here is what? In our data set, the score is given either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now, we are going to replace our scores, the number scores, with our word negative or positive. I hope the things are clear, right? Now,
can I jump in for a while, Ismail?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah. So this is a very tricky way that they are doing. So let's just like in Amazon, we do usually in a scale of 5, 1 to 5. Now, 3 is the middle point. So 3 is very neutral. We don't know whether people are liking it or not liking it. So that 1 and 2, they are, so Isbinder is in a trick. He's making it something positive and negative, 2 binary kind of approach. So yes or no. So when it is negative, that is 1 and 2 would be collected. And when it is positive, then the 3 and 4 and 5, those 2 points would be collected as positive. So is it like that you are doing it?
Yes, I'm trying to classify it. I hope you can understand. I'm just trying to classify.
Yeah, right. Right,
because you know what, so because you don't never know how the scores will be generated, so better it to classify. And see, we are just, you know what, we are just discussing a case study, but trust me, whenever you are building a recommender system on an actual basis, that is going to be very different. You know what, will have a lot of problems in that. So I discuss it, you know what, to make the things easier, I'm going to purposely ignore all the scores equals to 3, because you know what, that will create a lot of problems, right? That is the reason why. Now, what we are going to do is what we are replacing a number scores with positive or negative and ignoring if the score is 3. That's what we have done. Now, if you guys want to know the actual scores, you can access the filter data with a score as a column, right? So you can access the whatever the actual scores are, positive or negative. You know what, what we are doing to, what is a map function? Very important function in machine learning or data science. Map function, filter function. Now, what map function does is, we have this function. Now, what we will do is what, we have a data set over here, actual score. We have all the scores, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, right? Filter data. Then what we are going to do is what, we are going to map this function to each and every score. Now, what will happen is what, when I say map dot map into partition, what will happen? Let's suppose the score comes out to be 1. That map function, what it will do is what, it will automatically take the score as 1, and it will run this function, and it will replace that 1 score with either a positive or negative. It's just like you are just mapping it. You are, you know what, we are attaching a function to it. That's a reason, and it's really very important, right? But map function and filter function, they are very important 2 functions in data science and machine learning. Filter is also very important, but don't try to confuse with map and filter. Filter is something to extract some values based on some condition. Mapping is just, I'm just mapping my function to all the values, whatever the values are. Now, we have a filter data score, right? Positive. So what I'll do is what, I'll just replace 1 or 2, whatever the 1 or 2 the values we were getting, I'll replace with that positive or negative. Then you guys can print the number of data points in a data set. Right now, let's do it. It will take some time.
So in the meantime, I'm just I'm trying to recall. So you are starting with this case, pulling the data. So you are pulling the data from SQLite. Probably we have many options. We have many options like CSV. This is a MySQL kind of another approach. So SQLite is just one sister of that one. Another way we can use our data so that we can tell it that data storage, or sometimes we can think of warehouse. So the data is somewhere. So here, Iswinder is pulling the data. The Kaggle is storing the data somewhere in the cloud, and he is pulling that. And when he's pulling, he's making that data into more usable. And he's making that trick, how the the scale is there. He's making the 4, 1, 2, and 4, 5. How it has been used that next step and why it has been done. So this is a little bit discussed. And next step, probably he will be going with how those data that has already been collected, how the next the cleaning part would be there. Yeah. So am I right on that? The
Yes,
track you
yes,
were
perfect,
trying to?
perfectly, perfectly.
Okay.
Now, what we are trying to do is we are just trying to display the first 3 values so that we can verify it. Now, this is the data. Can you see? We have an ID, we have a product ID, we have a user ID, profile name, the name of the person, helpfulness numerator, requisite denominator. Then, can you see? Score we have replaced with positive, negative, or positive. That's been done. Now we have a timestamp. This is a timestamp. Now this is not in a year or DD format. It's like, you know what, generated in machine format, right? Or whatever it's seconds or milliseconds they have generated it. Now, then this is a summary, and then we have a text. I have bought this server, whatever the text they have. So we have all the data set. So this means what? Our job is done. Now, what is our next step? Anyone? Okay, I have displayed it. That anyhow, no problems. Now, what should be our next step? Anyone? Should we run our models directly on this data set, or we need to grill in or dig in something more into the data set? Because that's really very important. Anyone? Okay, now let's discuss it. I'll run a couple of queries. You don't need to worry about the queries. This is just to, you know what, you can say, get the user ID, product ID, profile name, text code, count, and everything, and group by user ID. Means what? I want everything by sorted it by group ID. That's it, like user ID. Now, here is the problem. I want to discuss one problem. Now, this is the problem I'll discuss with data cleaning. Now, there will be some entries, there will be deduplication. Deduplication means what? There will be a duplication of the data. Now, that can create a lot of problems in your machine learning. Am I right, Partha? That will create a lot of problems, right? So I'll discuss with you further, like how it can be, how it can create a lot of problems and how we need to handle it. Now, let's come to this. Now we have one use case. We have one user ID. This is a user ID. And you know what? The user ID is what? This is a user ID. Can you see? The profile name is what? Geeta Krishnan. Now, the funny thing about this Geeta Krishnan is what? Geeta Krishnan has bought different product ID. Can you see? This product ID is different. This product ID is different. This product ID is different. Can you see? And what is happening is what? That and Geeta Krishnan, this is a summary of the product. Local, quaternary, vanilla wafers. Like, you know what? Can you see? These are the vanilla wafers. But the product ID is different. Product ID is different. Can you see? Can you see? And the product summary is same. And can you see the timestamp is exactly same? How this can happen if the person has bought 5 to 6 different products, because you know what, it's clearly visible that a product ID is different. They have bought a different product. How can it happen? They have a same timestamp. Means what? Within a fraction of a second, I'm writing a same reviews for the 5 products. Can you understand, guys, what I'm trying to say? Not even a second difference. Can you understand? This is the biggest problem. I hope you guys can understand. This is the biggest problem it will happen. Now, what is happening over here? Now, if you just, I'm not going to dig in too much, right? Because it will take a lot of time, but you guys can research your own things. Now, what Amazon is doing, that is not a problem of Geeta Krishnan, but Amazon is doing at background. Let's suppose if I have bought local quaternary vanilla wafers. Now, this wafers will come in different flavors, chocolate, Apple, cinnamon, whatever it is, right? Now, what Amazon is doing is what they are saying, and they are assuming that if the person has bought this local quantity vanilla wafer, that same reviews will be posted for the different flavors also. Can you understand the problem over here? That, you know what, that Amazon is doing at the background to make the thing simpler, right? But the problem is what, if I like vanilla flavor, I might not like a chocolate flavor. I hope you guys can understand. So these are the things you need to spot on. Can you see? We have a same timestamp and we have a different product ID. So this is the case problem you need to discuss. Now, to handle such scenarios, you know what? To handle such scenarios, what I need to do is, well, first of all, I need to sort the data. I have sorted the data, right? Then we have a function in pandas that is what drop duplicates. Now, whenever you run this function drop duplicates, you need to specify what are the conditions. You know what, I want no duplicates in user ID, profile name, time, and text. Then it will automatically drop these values. Let's get this. So it's done. Now, once I have removed all the duplicate values, next step is what I need to check how much is my data left, percentage of data left. This means what, if I have removed my duplicate values, only 69% of the data is remaining for the processing. Can you see? This means what, around 30% of the data would have created a lot of problems in my machine learning model. Can you understand now where the problem comes in? That's why some, you know what, some machine learning models work very well, some machine models will not work well. That is a problem because we are not providing the right data to the model. That will create a lot of problems. Once we are done with it, now, okay, this is really great. Yeah, data is dirty. Okay, great. Now, let's come to this, you know what, numerator, or what we can say, helpful as numerator, helpful as denominator. Let's come to this. What was the definition of this? Okay. Now, the number of users who find the review helpful, the number of users who indicated whether they found helpful or not. This means what, the denominator should always be greater than numerator. You guys agree or not? Because this is or. Can you understand? This is mean if this product was good or bad. Means what, all the cases involved, isn't it? This numerator should always be less than denominator. Yes or no? You guys agree? Yes or no? Now, let's suppose if I come to this problem now. Let's come to this problem. Okay. Can you see the numerator is greater than denominator? Can you see? This is 3 and this is 1. So how this can happen? That is means what? There is a problem. Now, that's why I was telling you need to understand the data set very well. What is the data set? Again, I'm telling you, you can go back over here. You can just read, you know, what the column attributes are trying to say. The number of users who found this review helpful, the number of users who indicated whether the review found helpful or not. Means what? Whether I like or not. These are the total. Denominator is the total case possible, right? And this is what? Only the review was helpful. Only case, right? So this means what? My numerator should be less than the denominator. You guys agree? Or it can be equals to also, but it can never be greater than. You agree? So can you see now, if I search for these product IDs or user IDs, I'm getting this, you know, anomaly. So I need to remove these values also. Yes or no? Right? This means what? I need to apply the filter over here. Now I can apply the filter over here. Now I can say that if my helpfulness numerator is less than or equal to helpfulness denominator, then only I want the values. Else remove all the values. Now my data is available for the final. Now you guys can do the final counting. Can you see? So you know what? There was not much a change in the data values. This was 364171. Let's go back over here. And we have 364173. Means only 2 to 3 values were removed. Can you see? Only 2 to 3 values were removed, right? Now, this means what? Our data set is available for the final further pre-processing. Now we have a text. Now, if you guys remember, we have a text column over here. Let me go back. Okay, now we have a text column over here. If you see, right? Now in text column, what happens is what? Whenever I'm writing a review, I can write anything. And I cannot use abusive language. I can use commas, I can use shorthand format. I can say, if I have to say, I have to do this, I'll say HAVE to do. I hope you guys understand. Short form of a language. But you know what happens in machine learning won't understand this. They, you know what, they are not that much smarter than human beings, right? Because our language is like, you know what, they won't understand these. So means what, we have to do the text pre-processing. We have to clean the text also, right? Now, hence in pre-processing phase out, we need to do the following. We need to remove the HTML tags, because we are getting this data from the website or something. We need to remove the HTML tags. We need to remove any punctuation, because punctuations won't they are never going to be helpful in your NLP or machine learning models. Limited set of characters like etc., dot, column, etc. They will create a lot of problems. Check if a word is made up of English letters or is alphanumeric. Sometimes people use it. 1, 2, you know what, they'll use alphanumeric also. Check to see if the length of the word is greater than 2, right? Convert the word to a lowercase. That is also needed. You need to remove the stop words. I'll discuss further about like what are stop words. Finally, you know what, stemming the word, but I'm not going to discuss what stemming, because that is again NLP. Now, this is just, I'm running an example. Final, I'll tell you like how you can run on the complete data set. Now, I'm getting the first value of the text into this one. I'm getting the 1000th value on this one. I'm getting the 1500 or 1501 value. We can say row number. This is 4901 row number. Let's run it. Let's see. Now, this is our text look like. This witty little book makes my son laugh. We have a full stop. I recited. And can you see, this word will create a problem. These words are going to, this word is going to create a problem. We need to handle such text, right? Can you see, this is going to create a problem. No, this is going to create a problem. This is going to create a problem. This is going to create a problem, right? Now, this one. So we need to handle such scenarios. Now, what we are going to do is what? We are going to use regular expressions, right? I discussed with you. Now, first of all, what are regular expressions? We'll define how the statement is going to look like. You guys can search it. If you guys are from computer science background, you might be knowing what are regular expressions. You must have done in the other languages also. And you know what? We can replace these HTTP, any website link or something. Can you see? These are the body tags given. These are the body tags given. You know what? This will automatically, they will replace it. It's done. Now, after after using a regular expression, replacing it, this is my first column, first row will look like. Still, we have a problem over here. Now, how we are going to handle it? Then we are going to use a beautiful soup library, very important library available to remove all the HTML tags, or you know what, to get the data from websites. To scroll the data from the, it's a web crawler, we can say. You just scroll the data from the website. Now, you guys can read about these all beautiful source library. Let's run it. Now we are done with it. They have removed all the HTML tags whatsoever are available. Can you see? It's all done. All the HTML tags are gone. If you just compare it, can you see? All the HTML tags are. This one, can you see? All the HTML tags are. So this will actually remove all your HTML tags. It will fetch all the text data from your website links or whatever the things are. That's a purpose of the beautiful soup library. That's a web crawler. Now we are going to create one function that is what decontracted. Now, if you just go to this link, trust me, you know what, Wikipedia is really very important. Let me try to run it. Okay. Now, this is a contraction graph. Now, what happens is what? See, full form is what? This one not. And this is, you know what, contracted grammar is given. A lot of people use this grammar, right? They can use, no one is stopping them. But in our machine learning model, we have to handle them, right? We have to handle them. Now, how we are going to handle is, again, we are going to use a regular expression. We'll say, wherever you see want, replace it with will not. Wherever you see can't, replace with cannot. Wherever you see this was T, not, yes. Wherever you see this one, replace it. RE means what? R. S means what is. D means what would. Double L means what will. So we need to replace it. You guys can use this form. Can you see? Double L, it will be will. D means what would. So you just need to replace it. You need to run this and it will replace it. Now we are going to run this function on the 50 and 100. Can you see? They have removed all that, contracted graph. They have removed it, right? Now, once it's done, you guys can, use on all of the function. That is not a problem. Now, let's come to the stop words now. These are the stop words. So what happens is whenever you guys are using NLP, what NLP does is you have a length. You have let's suppose you have a statement. If I write, let me write a statement over here. Now, what happens is if I say, I like pizza. I do not like pizza. I'm just discussing it. Now, the NLP language will do is they'll try to convert all these words to a vector. They'll try to convert all these words to a vector. Now, what happens is now this not, do, these are known as a stop words, because whenever you guys are running the NLP, they won't make any sense. Am I right, Partha? So they won't make any sense, right? So these are known as a stop word. So whenever we are running machine learning models like NLP, we need to remove this. We need to remove these words. So these are known as a stop words. For at your level, there are other various techniques to handle the stop words. Like we will discuss it in NLP if we are going to do NLP models or something. But that is for a general case. These are the known as stop words. So we need to remove the stop words. These are the stop words. Now, once we have the stop words, now I'm going to do is I am going to run my complete whatever the scenarios or steps we have discussed it on complete data set. Can you see? First, I'll run the regular expressions. Then I'll run the beautiful soap library. Then I'll run this function. Again, I'll run the regular expressions, right? Then I'm going to join all whatever the split I have done it, and then I'll make a final sentence. That's what I'm going to do. Now, I told you at the very beginning, I'm going to discuss what this function does. Can you see this processing bar over here? Now, this library does is this will display you like how much the processing has been done. So let's try to run this. It will take some time. Can you see? This bar is running because of this library. That is going to be really helpful because let's suppose you are setting it, it's going to be a large data set. Now you guys can at least know how much the processing has been done. So that is going to be really helpful. Now it's done. It will take another couple of minutes. Okay.
So in the meantime, I'm jumping in, isn't it, for a while?
Sure.
So far, what I am getting, this is very much interesting from the point of view that you are pulling the data from somewhere like Kaggle. Probably Kaggle is very interesting. We can understand or we can discuss more about what is the Kaggle and its importance. So data is available there. Probably that is one solution for everybody, and that we cry for many times. Yeah. So this is one. Second, after pulling the data, probably you are intelligently making that positive and negative, that kind of classification, or how you can tag the positive and negative, that kind of device you are trying to score here. And the third one, probably one takes part that is probably very challenging part of this case. And probably in the case studies, the text would be one important part. We often need to solve that. And here probably you are showing that, so probably you are showing that in a particular text that difficulties are like, sometimes we stop words, fill the stop words, sometimes the word, the meaning of word, even
contracted words we use on WhatsApp also, like contracted words are there. We need to replace them. You know what? Machines won't understand. They do have their own problems, right?
So contracted, or sometimes the local lingo, so kind of things we are using. And probably another one, we can get to other problems here. Like sometimes we'll write, we love pizzas, or sometimes we write, we like pizzas. Then we like wow pizzas. Probably all these three things are similar. So machine probably need to interpret that these things are almost similar. So nothing, the difference is there. Probably that NLP, this is one problem we solved. Is it like that?
Yes, certainly. Now, there are a lot of other problems also, because when we are running NLP, See, this is only, I can say 10 to 20% for job is done. Again, there are a lot of things we have done that shouldn't be done. Like the way we have ignored the score is equals to 3. We need to handle it very intelligently, right? Because I can write a negative review when the score is 3. I can write a positive review, above average review also when the score is 3, right? But for simplicity case, you know what, we have ignored the value when the score is 3. So there are a lot of challenges, a lot of case problems. That is again advanced scenario we can't discuss in a one session. I hope you can understand. That is a problem. Actually. Now
I am adding one point here. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
no,
please, if you're done.
Please.
Yeah. So I want to add here, sometimes in the Amazon, that in case not only in the Amazon, so this problem is probably for everyone who are in the management, who are going for making the reviews is one input to develop the product or develop the service. So probably the next service, what it would be. So that would be determined from that reading the reviews. And if we need to read that 50,000 or 100K reviews in a day, then probably the manpower, the cost is absolutely high. So probably that is the problem that we cannot do. And here we are solving probably that you are trying to say or show that how that one code can pull the data of 100K, how it can build that kind of classification and positive and negative, and that you can show to that particular marketing manager that this is something we are doing.
Voice is gone. Your voice is gone.
Oh, okay, sorry. So that case, is it now?
We cannot hear you.
Okay, please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay. Now over here we are done with the 100% processing. Now what we'll do is we'll just run one one row. Can you see now? It's grade, ingredients, although, chicken, rather, chicken, all the stop words have been removed. Was, did not, all the stop words have been removed. Can you see? Thing, not, belongs, kennel, oil, something, dog, whatever. Because now when machine will get these words, they will convert this into vectors, right? Again, that is a different scenario, like how it can be converted to vectors, right? We are not going to discuss it. That is going to be a long session then. So this is the final pre-processed data for the text. Then I can run on my machine learning models. I can test my models. I can come up with the results. If I'm not satisfied with the result, then I have to go back. I have to go reverse engineering. I have to look into the data once again. What is the problem going on? Where I'm going to start? How can I do things better? But you have to pre-process the data very intelligently. Now, this is the skill. If you know it, trust me, rest of the things is not going to be a problem, because this skill, data pre-processing, I know it will require a lot of intelligence, lot of patience. I have seen people, they are working on 5 months or 6 months of project, and they are investing around 2.5 months of their time on pre-processing the data. So please don't ignore this part. This is going to be utmost important, or we can process the data. Now, once we have the pre-process of the data, you guys can run any model. Let's suppose this is what we are testing, right? So we are running a testing on Amazon Find Food. You guys can run any model. That is not going to be a problem. But first you need to pre-process the data. That's it from my side. Yes, Partha, you want to add something? You can.
Yeah, so probably this is a brief, or probably we have many things to solve, that how this case can be solved. Probably you have many codes to develop and how it can be solved to get the proper result. But what is most important here in this case, we try to show that in the real life we are solving how to pull the data, how to understand one case and its problem. So sometimes the case can be understood through the problem, through the data itself. So looking into the data, how the data can show you the problem of the data itself and what is the pain point we are solving. So this is more about this analytics that we discussed today. Previously, we have discussed more about these other cases, and next day we'll be discussing shortly the close-up of this workshop. And in future, we'll be making more interesting cases. And the most important part here that we are trying to show here through these cases that we can understand this analytics through the cases, and this could be used for your interview. Those are students, and probably those are industry from the industry. That is most important to understand that how different segments, different fields can be targeted through the analysis or decision making. Our target is that how the decision making can be achieved through the data. So it's not like that something we can say yes or no, just like Isvinder was telling that review is positive or negative. That is not true, that our brief understanding of the text, reading the text only. Sometimes we did in our management, we did that is read that and we understand a brief that how it is positive or negative. A brief idea we can, from our gut feeling, we can do that one. But it's been shown that this exactly that problem can be solved through data. So this decision making through data is very important, and that we tried here. And in the next case, like for the students, this understanding these cases and how it can be solved, probably that will help them to crack the interviews. Sometimes we are good in understanding the theories and sometimes we good in coding, but the gap is like understanding the case and understanding the coding, and as well as how we can tie up all the points into a single decision making. Probably that is needed in interview. And this case, the best important part that we can learn from here, that how we can improve our learning through these cases. Yeah, anything Isvinder, you want to add, or any question from that audience, those are listening?
Yes,
now?
Questions please. Anyone?
So we are open for next 5-10 minutes just to answer your questions, any query or anything you want to see in our next workshop. Then that we can pull different case also based on your request. So we can write down. Can you pull down Isvinder for a while so I can show my screen?
Yep.
So anytime you can reach us. So this is our number that we are reachable. We are very much available here, where you can write down your suggestions and also your any comment, or you have any question that not popping up at this moment, but you can ask later also.